Minister to move second reading.
Well, Madam Deputy Speaker, I beg to move that the bill be now read a second time, so that for a second time this year we can cut taxes for 29 million working people across this country. Something that is particularly remarkable in the aftermath of the worst pandemic in 100 years, the worst war in mainland Europe since 1945, and the highest energy spike since the 1970s. The government has had to take difficult decisions to restore the public finances, and these decisions are now starting to pay off. Our economy is growing and debt is forecast to reduce. Inflation is down significantly, unemployment is at near record lows, and wages are now rising. And as the outlook improves, our priority is to return money to working taxpayers whilst keeping the public finances on track. We believe that the tax system should be fair, it should be simple, and it should reward hard work. Yet the way we tax people's income is particularly unfair. If you get your income from having a job, you pay two types of tax: national insurance contributions and income tax. If you get it from other sources, you pay only one. The result is a complicated system that does not support work as best as it could. For that reason, this bill will build on the changes to national insurance contributions made at the autumn statement. The bill before the House today has two measures: the reduction of the national insurance contributions, or NIC's employee Class 1 main rate, and the reduction of the NIC's Class 4 main rate. These measures are both important. Allowing working families to keep as much of their hard-earned money as possible is a priority for this government. The Chancellor has always been clear that when we can cut taxes, we will. Of course I will.
My Honourable Friend's making a great speech on this issue, and I fully support the government's efforts to try and reduce the taxes on working people. Also, alongside that, the pledge with the triple lock to increase the money going towards pensioners. But does my Honourable Friend agree that it's disgraceful that whilst the Conservatives are working hard here to cut the taxes and help working people, Labour-run London are increasing their share of council tax on all Londoners and also hitting drivers with charges of up to £12.50 per day linked to ULEZ?
My honourable friend is consistent in holding the administration in London to account, and he was quite right. As we are still not out of the woods when it comes to the cost of living crisis, we as a government, we as a party have made it very clear that we disagree with the Mayor of London's approach to make motorists poorer. Madam Deputy Speaker, as I said, building on the changes made at the autumn statement, we will once again be supporting working families by reducing the main rate of employee Class 1 NICs by 2 percentage points to 8% on earnings between £12,570 and £50,270 from the 6th of April 2024. This will cut taxes for over 27 million employees. The average worker on £35,400 a year will be saving £450 a year, and the majority will see the benefit in their payslips at the start of this new tax year. Taken together with the cuts to the NICs at autumn statement, this is a tax cut worth some £900 a year for the average worker. In addition, we're implementing a further reduction in the main rate of Class 4 NICs for the self-employed. The Chancellor announced at autumn statement that the main rate of Class 4 would be reduced from 9% to 8% from the 6th of April, and today we are cutting the rate further by an additional 2 percentage points from 8% to 6% from April 2024. That is a total cut of 3 percentage points, again in just 6 months. Combined with the abolition of the requirement to pay Class 2 announced at the autumn statement, this will save an average self-employed person £650 a year and benefit over 2 million people across this country. Together with the autumn statement cuts, this is an overall tax cut worth some £20 billion per year, the largest ever cut to employee and self-employed national insurance. Because of the action that we have taken, the average earner in the UK now has the lowest effective personal tax rate since 1975. Madam Deputy Speaker, the government is committed to tax cuts that reward and incentivise work, and which grow our economy sustainably and boost productivity. Indeed, the OBR have said that the national insurance cuts announced at spring budget will increase total hours worked by the equivalent of almost 100,000 full-time workers by 2028 to 2029. And because of these cuts, just over 30,000 people will move into work. These reductions in tax will drive more people to seek employment. This is our plan for a simpler, fairer tax system that makes work pay. Of course.
I thank my honourable friend for giving way and being a very powerful speech and very important conservative speech about the importance not just of cutting tax but getting more people in work. Has the department made any estimate of how much actually more tax revenue will come as a result of more people working because of these changes, so actually we can show that lower taxes actually increases tax revenue for the Exchequer?
Well, my honourable friend is right to point this out. It is a fundamental benefit of reducing tax that it improves growth in our economy because more people will be in work and working longer hours, which generates obviously more productivity for our economy and ultimately more tax revenues for the Exchequer. It is a fundamental conservative principle that we want lower taxes, and we are delivering that today because it is fiscally responsible to do so and able to do so. Sorry, yes, of course.
Giving way and for making such a powerful case for cutting taxes, fundamental conservative principle. Would he confirm that for the average person in Southend who earns £36,400, this bill is going to put £960 back into that worker's pocket, £1,920 into a family with two people in Southend on the average wage? And would he agree that is a considerable and welcome tax cut for hard-working people in Southend?
Well, she is absolutely right to point that out, and I would just add to those figures by saying that since 2010 we have lifted millions of people across the country, including in Southend West, out of paying any tax at all by doubling the point at which you start paying tax in our country. You can earn £1,000 a month now without paying any tax, and that is a great achievement of a Conservative government. Now, Madam Deputy Speaker, while I welcome that the Labour Party are apparently voting for our tax cuts today, I hope you will forgive me. I hope you will forgive me for sounding slightly sceptical about Labour's sudden conversion to the cause of lower taxes for working people. While they do not oppose these measures, they also did not propose them. In fact, Labour have consistently voted against successive Conservative-led tax cuts between 2010 and 2021, which delivered a doubling of the personal allowances I just mentioned to my honourable friend. On the one hand, they seemingly bemoan the level of taxation, but cannot tell us a single tax that they are proposing to cut, nor what the level of taxation would be under Labour. On the other hand, the Shadow Chief Secretary described our ambitions to remove unfairness in the tax system as morally abhorrent. They still cannot tell us how they will pay for their many spending commitments. They are completely all over the place. Madam Deputy Speaker, it is only the Conservatives who truly believe in reducing taxes on working people. Of course.
I'm very grateful for the Minister giving way, and he's giving a very clear explanation about why the Conservatives want to cut tax and the economic benefits of cutting taxes on working people. But he will know that the origins of national insurance were basically a form of social insurance. It was going to look after me. I paid national insurance. It was for me later in life. But the Labour Party took the insurance out and put the socialism in, and that's why we ended up with a system that essentially is the same as income tax. But as we think beyond the cuts, the welcome cuts that we've made today, to the things that are potentially in the amendment from the opposition, has the Minister thought about using any further cuts actually to go into the compulsory savings of individuals that was an introduction under the coalition government after 2010, essentially building, in replace of a dependency state, a savings state built on Conservative principles?
Yet again, my honourable friend makes a very valuable contribution to this debate, and he suggests an idea which I commit to him I will take away and consider, certainly as we look to the future, to reduce this unfairness in the tax system, to reduce national insurance contributions when it is prudent and responsible to do so. Madam Deputy Speaker, as I was saying, the Labour Party on this are completely all over the place, and we have delivered, as a Conservative government, a very clear message to the British people, and it is based on a delivery of the lowest personal taxation level since 1975. It is, I will in a second, we have almost doubled the personal allowance, bringing the lowest earners out of paying any tax at all, and we have delivered a thriving jobs market, which ultimately is the best way of ensuring that people are brought out of poverty. And on that point,
I thank the Minister for giving way, and I hope to speak a bit later on this. I may have a slight difference of opinion on tax cutting, but I want to deal with the facts as I see them. Now the Minister's making a large and great amount of noise about the tax cutting kind of vim and vigour that his party has kind of continued with throughout the last 10, 20, 30 years. Even longer than that. It's meant to be something that goes to the heart of the Conservative Party. But according to the OECD, for every £1 generated in the UK, the government collects 35.3 pence of it as tax. Now, this figure is projected to keep on increasing to 37.7% by 2029, despite this 2% tax cut. So, can the Minister explain that as the party of tax cuts, the actual tax levels will in fact be going up according to the OECD? How do they square that circle?
I'm grateful for the opportunity to clarify this, because there has been a lot of noise as well from the Labour benches too. It is true that we have had to make some difficult decisions in the back of the pandemic on overall taxation. But what we are doing today is cutting taxes on work, because that is the way to grow our economy. And as I've been saying, we now have the lowest personal taxation level since 1975. Some taxes have gone up, absolutely. We've increased, which have been supported by the Labour Party, such as tobacco duty, such as other items. But we are focused on making sure that if you are in work, if you have a job, your tax level will be reduced, and that is what we are doing today. So, Madam Deputy Speaker, today that work of reducing tax on work continues. We are cutting taxes for millions of people across this country, and that is why I commend this bill to them.